Okay, so let's talk about a band that managed to build this legendary reputation based on, well, a complete lie. A band that became this huge phenomenon all because a private joke got way out of hand.
Yeah, this is a line you hear a lot from critics when they talk about Porcupine Tree. For decades, they've been this massive, critically loved act, always getting praise for their incredible songwriting and these huge, cinematic sounds. And they've built this fiercely loyal fan base, all while somehow flying just under the mainstream radar.
And then, after a 10-year break where pretty much everyone thought they were done for good, they just reappeared out of nowhere. Their surprise comeback in 2021 with a new album and a world tour was a huge deal for fans. But for a lot of people, it also brought up a really big question.
To really get why this band matters so much, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. And trust me, it is one of the weirdest, most unbelievable origin stories in all of rock history.
See, Porcupine Tree didn't start in some garage with a bunch of teenagers learning to play their instruments. No, it started as this incredibly elaborate inside joke between two buddies who were just obsessed with 1970s psychedelic rock. You know, that super experimental, mind-bending stuff.
So get this. Back in 1987, a musician named Steven Wilson and his friend Malcolm Stocks went all in. They didn't just come up with a name, they invented an entire world. They created this detailed, absolutely ridiculous history for their fake band, making up stories about festival appearances and even stints in prison. And here's the kicker. To make the whole joke believable, Wilson recorded hours and hours of music as proof and put it all on a cassette tape.
And the joke went deep. I mean, really deep. The cassette came with this little 8-page booklet that detailed all the crazy adventures of the fake band members, who had these absurd names like Sir Tarquin Underspoon and Timothy Tadpole Jones. It was a complete, hilarious send-up of the whole 70s rock scene.
But this is where the story takes a wild turn. The music that Wilson made as part of the gag was actually so good that people believed it was real. An underground magazine reviewed the tape, which led to a song getting put on a compilation album, and then, before they knew it, a record label came calling, wanted to sign this imaginary band. The hoax had just become a reality.
So now Steven Wilson has a record deal and all this buzz in the underground scene. But he's got a new problem. People wanted to see this amazing band play live. He somehow had to turn his one-man joke into a real, actual touring band.
So in 1993, the fiction had to become fact. Wilson brought in keyboardist Richard Barbieri, bassist Colin Edwin, and drummer Chris Maitland, all super talented musicians he'd worked with before. Their job? To learn all this music and bring this totally made-up band to the stage. And just like that, the joke was now a real 4-person band. And the sound of this new lineup was just incredible. It was huge, atmospheric, and really psychedelic, with these long, epic songs. Their 1995 album, The Sky Moves Sideways, was so ambitious and spacey that it earned them this massive comparison. People started calling them the Pink Floyd of the 90s. That really put them on the map in the progressive rock world.
You can see their whole journey was just this constant evolution, from a total hoax to a real band, and then in 2002, a huge moment when the phenomenal Gavin Harrison took over on drums. That really pushed their sound into a much heavier, more technical place, which led to their most successful years, right before they went completely quiet, and then that surprise return.
And that's one of the coolest things about them. Musically, they never ever stood still. The same band that started out making these long, ambient, space rock journeys in the 90s completely changed. By the 2000s, they were a modern progressive metal powerhouse, writing these tight, heavy, powerful songs, but without ever losing that signature complexity.
After their tour in 2010, the band just vanished. Wilson started a massively successful solo career, and for more than a decade, it really seemed like the Porcupine Tree story was over. But then, of course, there was another twist.
So it turns out, while the entire world thought the band was finished, Wilson, Barbieri, and drummer Gavin Harrison were secretly working on new music that whole time. For 11 years, on and off, they were quietly putting together a brand new album called Closure/Continuation, completely under the radar.
When that album came out, it was huge. The tour was massive. But that title, Closure/Continuation, I mean, it was perfectly ambiguous, right? Was this the end, or was it a new beginning? Wilson kind of fed the mystery, saying in interviews that this was probably their final album, a way to wrap up the band's incredible story on a high note.
But hey, with Porcupine Tree, the story is never that simple, is it? Just when fans were starting to accept that it was over, a recent interview dropped another bombshell. Wilson revealed that the creative spark is still very much alive, confirming they've already been working on new stuff and that another full album isn't just a possibility, it's probable.
From a completely fabricated backstory to becoming a global rock institution, the only thing you can ever count on with Porcupine Tree is that they're unpredictable. The name of their comeback album really says it all, and it leaves all of us wondering, was that the end of the book, or was it just the start of a whole new chapter?